I'm starting the class. Okay, I'm starting the class. So in the last class, we were seeing that what is braking system, how braking system is applying, and some of the materials we seen for braking system. Some of the materials also we seen, and some of the factors also we seen. That means that characteristics of braking. So what kind of characteristics the braking material should have. So those and all we seen. These are the some of the characteristics which the braking material must be have. Then after that we seen that types of braking system. Brake divided into two categories: one radial braking, and second one is axial braking. So radial braking, the kind of braking force is acting along the circumference of 360 degrees. So those are also divided into internal and external braking systems. And the axial braking brakes also we were studied. So those kind of forces are acting along the axial direction, along the axis of the direction. So since we are also studied that there are three types of braking systems. One is hydraulic braking system, electrical braking system, and the third one is mechanical braking system. Electrical and hydraulic braking system we are not studying here because the syllabus is not given according to that. So in the syllabus, they have mentioned mechanical braking system. Now we will start a mechanical braking system and we will go through the mechanical braking system. So under that mechanical braking system, the first brake is a single block or shoe brake. So single block or shoe brake, mm, single block or shoe brake, the single block or shoe brake. So last class also I shown you one video. I hope you people are maybe understanding how the single block or shoe brake is working. So now I'll take you that through pneumatic diagram of single block or shoe brake. So before that, just we have a introduction about single block or shoe brake. So let me take you that introduction. So the first introduction about single block is, so single block or shoe brake as shown in figure. I'll take you next slide through the diagram. It consists of brake or shoe which is pressed against the rim of the revolving brake or wheel drum. So just it consists of a one shoe against the drum. So drum is nothing but which is directly connected to the shaft. When the shaft is revolving, so that the drum is also revolving. So whenever the drum is revolving, we are the one we would like to get either retardation position or static position of the drum. So in order to get retardation or static position of that drum, then we must be use a shoe. Then the block or shoe is made up of softer material, right? The block or shoe is made up of softer material than drum, than wheel, softer material than wheel, right? So that also that also one very important factor here, because when we would like to under the design position, the design under the design stage itself, the material has to take that shafter. Which one? The block material or shoe material is shafter than the rim, shafter than the rim. If both are equal strengthened materials, then the friction will not be work out there. So the principle will not be work out there. So that is why one is a hard material. That means that one is strengthened material, another one is softer material. So harder material is a one, softer material is a one. Like that we have to design during the design of any two individual materials. So the friction between the block and the flywheel causes a tangential braking force acting on the wheel. So whenever the pressure is applied on the material on the black shoe, then the kind of black shoe will be provided tangential frictional force on the rim, so that the rim or the wheel will get a retardation position and static position. Now I'll take you that how the tangential force is acting over there. Tangential force is acting over there. So now you can see the diagram here. So last class also I shown you a video. That video diagram only I taken that shortcut here. So here you can observe that this is the rim or this is the wheel, right? This is the wheel. When wheel is rotating either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, we can take both the directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise, forward and reverse direction. Let you consider one direction, forward direction. So when the forward direction is taking place, when the forward direction is like this, it is revolving, like this direction it is revolving. When it is revolving, so suddenly we want to get that to static position or retardation of the speed has to reduce. So in order to reduce the speed of this dream, then immediately we have to apply the shoe brake. This is called as a shoe. This is called as a shoe or black brake, right? Shoe or black brake. So this is the one supporting for this. Actually the material is this one, the whichever the black indicator is there, black color is there, that is called as a shoe. That is called as a shoe or block. So this is slew or back. So that only we seen that in the last slide. So this is the greater material, this is the harder material, this is the softer material. When one is greater material and harder material, another one is softer material, so that the correlation between them is a good a effective manner. The correlation, the working principle of between the two components is a effective manner, otherwise it will not be effective. So otherwise we cannot get into that working of over there. That is why one is harder material, another one is softer material. This is the softer material. The softer material have been attached to this, right? So whenever the force is applying through this lever, the lever will try to push this. So whenever the lever is pushing, so that the lever position will be get over here, and automatically the force will be act over which the force will be act against of this rim, against of this wheel, so that the wheel speed will be reduces over here. Thing is, right. So whenever we're applying force, the kind of force is a tangential force, because the force is acting on the tangential direction against the rotating wheel or against the drum. So that is why this is called as a tangential force shoe brake. Tangential force, tangential force shoe brake, right? So thing is, the force is applying, through that force it will come to against of this, so that the speed is reducing that. That is what we are taking that. So there is also spring to save the energies, to store the kinetic energy and all the things, and it is also releasing energy, it is also storing energy. For supporting of this, the spring is also set up over here, so you can see. But we are going to study what is the friction developing over here. So once the friction developing over here, what is the frictional torque is acting? Because we want to know that torque, what is the torque is going on, what is the torque is taking place. So that is called as a frictional torque. By applying friction, by applying force, it is taking that friction. So that is why a frictional torque. So what is the frictional torque is considering over here? That is what our design is. So we will take that the design factor here. Let come here. Let's see this pneumatic diagram also. So as I told you that whenever the wheel is rotating, so again it's the wheel, the brake shoe will be active. So we are considering here, this is the wheel, this same wheel we are taking here, and whenever the wheel is taking either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So now I'm considering clockwise direction because the wheel is taking a clockwise direction, and whatever the shoe is there, this total setup is shown here. The total setup has been shown here. This is called as a shoe. So you can see that rigidly mounted block. Here also you can see rigidly mounted block. So whichever is there, this is the total stand. The total stand or frame have been mounted here. Mounted here. So one side there is a force applying. So one side there is a force applying. Clear? One side there is a force applying. One side it is a fixed. One side it is a fixed. So this side is a fixed fulcrum, right? This is the fixed fulcrum, or else you can consider here this is the fixed fulcrum and this is the fixed fulcrum. That is what the total setup have been modified into pneumatic diagram, 2D diagram. So now the total working principle will take over here. So whenever the wheel is rotating again, wheel is rotating in the clockwise direction, so suddenly there is a force applying. The force applying would be like this manner, perpendicular direction. So perpendicular direction or else tangential direction, right? Whenever the force is applying through the tangential direction, the force will be act against the rotating drum, and later on the drum will get a retardation position. Later on the drum will get a retardation position. So during that retardation position of that particular drum, so it undergoes some frictional forces over here. It undergoes some frictional forces over here. So whenever the undergoes of frictional forces, due to which the frictional torque will be developed. Due to that, the frictional torque will be developed. That is what we have to study here, right? So now I'm going to take the total distance of this lever. The total distance of this lever is considering L, and the distance from center to one side. The distance from center to one side is a X, right? Distance from fulcrum or distance from fixed to center is a X, and from center fixed to total length of the force is L. And so the frictional force will be tangential way. That is what the frictional force, because the force is acting in the tangential direction. So it is a tangential direction, tangential to rotating of this drum, and force is applying downward direction, and reaction force is applying opposite to that. You can see here. So force P and reaction force is opposite of this, and this is the one force Ft, frictional torque. So total how many forces are here? One P applied force, one reaction force, one tangential force. Total three forces are acting, but two forces are vertical forces and one is horizontal force. Vertical force, this is the forward direction, this is the backward direction, the right. Forward direction vertical force, and mean that downward direction vertical force, upward direction vertical force, forward direction horizontal force. Three forces are there, right? So just note those forces. I'll take you that rest of the right. Next, coming into that, next slide. When talking about clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction, so these two diagrams I have brought from previous diagram. So here this is the clockwise direction, already I shown in the previous uh, clockwise rotation. This is anti-clockwise direction, Of course, the direction whatever it may be, but the direction frictional torque will be taking against of that, the frictional torque. So this, even talking about frictional torque in the clockwise direction, then this is the Ft. When talking about anti-clockwise direction, then frictional torque of this, opposite of this, opposite of this. You can see the clear difference of this, right? And also that main important thing is the angle of contact of this shoe brake is 2 theta. Angle of contact of the shoe brake is 2 theta, right? This is the one important note. So everyone has to remember this, how 2 theta is considering angle between the two contact surfaces, angle between the two end of the shoe, angle between the two end of the shoe. I'll take you that. So how to take up this, right? So the angle between the two end of the shoe is, so this is the one end and this is the another end. When you taking up these edges, so at somewhere these two edges are meeting, at two edges are meeting, this is called as a 2 theta. The total angle of contact is 2 theta. The total angle of contact is 2 theta. That is only this angle of contact 2 theta. 2 theta. So the 2 theta why it is taking 2 theta, this is the one angle of theta and this is another angle of theta. So both are adding here 2 theta cases, right? Say for example it is 30 degrees and this is the 30 degrees. So 2 theta is equal to how much now? 30 plus 30, 60 degrees. Say it would be a 45 degrees, some cases it also would be a 45 degrees. So 2 theta is 90 degrees. 2 theta is 90 degrees. So like that, we have to consider here 2 theta also. Right. So this is clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. Same principle. Length is there, x is there, vertical forces is there. I mean that downward force, reaction force is there, frictional force is there. Here also frictional force is there, but in clockwise, anti-clockwise direction, force is there, normal reaction is there, 2 theta is also there, x is there, L is there, everything is there. But direction only, direction could be changes. So please remember this, clockwise direction of shoe brake, anti-clockwise direction of shoe brake, both are same, but direction, frictional torque is changing here. Let's come to here. So this is the drum, this is the drum. When the drum is rotating like this direction, when force is applying, these two get to contact direction, these two get to close the directions. When these two are getting close the directions, so there is a some force. Due to that force, this shoe will come to against the drum, this shoe also will get against the drum, so that two shoes are getting against the drum, so that drum will get a retardation position, right? This is the contact position of this. So once the force is applied, you can see this is the original length, this is after applying a force, the length have been reduced here. You can clearly see that length have been reduced. Force is acting, compressive force. Then here also you can see compressive forces, so that the drum will get a retardation position. So when the brakes when force is applied on the brakes, the pad grips wheel rim from the either side, from the both sides, and friction between the pads and the rim converts the cycle kinetic energy into heat. So whatever the energy, 1 by 2 mv square, here we have a 1 by 2 mv square on the rim. So 1 by 2 mv square on the rim, it will be converted, kinetic energy converted into heat energy. How heat energy is here? Heat energy is nothing but by contacting. By both are contacting again, both are contacting the rim, so that so that there is a some frictional force. Frictional force is nothing but heat energy. Frictional force is nothing but some kind of heat energy. The heat energy will drop into that kinetic energy. Heat energy is kind of drop into kinetic energy. Dropping of kinetic energy is nothing but reducing the speed, reducing the speed. That is what the working principle is taking place over here. So next I'll take you through this. So some of the shoe brakes arranging over here, You can see that how it has been arranging. So this is the drum. So these holes are for gripping purpose. Holes are for gripping purpose, and also that the holes are for heat dissipation in the proper way. Heat dissipation, because whenever it is contacting, or the shoe brake is contacting with the drum or wheel, so that there is a more frictional force. That means that more heat energy, the kind of heat energy has to drop over here. It could not be continuously, it could not be continuous, and it could not be raised in more than the particular level. So that is why, in order to reduce the speed, reduce the heat, then the holes are being arranged here. So by taking off a hole, by providing of a hole, the heat can be reduces, heat can be distributed at a large rate. Heat can be distributed at a large rate, so that the material will be shaped. I mean that the wheel material will be shaped, the brake or shoe brake material also could be saved. So in order to save the materials, both the materials, the holes have been provided, so that the heat can be distributed over here. This is the arrangement of shoe also, one way of arrangement of shoe brake. So here also you can see one way of arrangement. This is the wheel drum. So whenever the shoe is arranging there, so by applying of forces over there, then immediately the wheel drum could get a retardation position. This is the one movement in practical purpose, practical oriented. Now let's come to that clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. So the numerical parameters? The parameter P is a force applied at end of the lever. Force applied at end of the lever. Rn is the normal force. That means that normal force, pressure, braking lock, braking lock, and 2 theta is a angle of contact surfaces of the brake. 2 theta is the angle of contacting surfaces of the brake. So this I shown you. So how it is contacting 2 theta, 2 theta angle of contact surfaces of the brake block. Mu is a coefficient of friction. Mu is a coefficient of friction. Ft is the tangential braking force or frictional force acting on the contacting surfaces of the block and the wheel. So these are the some of the parameters which we are considering over here. Next. Come to this, first I'll consider that clockwise direction. So whenever the clockwise direction is there, some clockwise direction, the wheel is rotating. Against that, the shoe or block is working against of it. So whenever the force is applying over here, so due to that force, the kind of force will be travel along this lever, along that lever, and it try to that contacting, or the kind of force will be act over here and try to that contacting against the rotating wheel, try to that contacting against the rotating wheel. So that is what we are taking. So, and always that one more most important, the angle of contact is 2 theta. 2 theta must be always 60, not greater than that. If at all it would be greater than that, it is a greater than that, then what is the case, that also we'll see in the future classes. So at present, you keep in mind that the 2 theta is a 60 degrees. The angle between the 2 theta is a 60 degrees. Contacting is less than 60 or up to 60. Then it may be assumed that normal pressure between the block and wheel is uniform. So block and wheel uniform, the pressure, which is the pressure is applying you over here, the kind of pressure is normal uniform throughout of this area, throughout of this area. So when it is a uniform throughout of this area, I mean that contact between the shoe and wheel is a uniform pressure, because it is a 2 theta. 2 theta is nothing but it is a 60 degrees. If more than that 60 degrees, whether it would be a uniform or it may not be uniform. We'll see in the future classes that statement. So in such cases, the tangential braking force on the wheel, tangential braking force is equal to F is equal to mu Rn. So we know that actually mu is equal to coefficient of friction is equal to force to normal reaction. So here the kind of tangential force is equal to mu mu into Rn. So Rn is nothing but normal reaction. This is the tangential force. This is the what of this tangential force. Braking torque. So once we know the tangential force, we can know that braking torque. So torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance. So perpendicular distance is nothing but up to radius. Perpendicular distance is nothing but up to radius. So that ft into r, so we know already ft is nothing but mu rn into r. So this is what total tangential braking force, tangential braking force. So that is the tangential braking force. So right, r also the braking torque, so you can also consider that it is a braking torque. Right. So braking torque. Next, coming into that. So once we know the braking torque, TB, braking torque, then come to this. This is the one diagram, clockwise direction. So here we have a three cases regarding that. So I'll take you one by one. What are the cases are over here? Cases are nothing but by changing of the position. By changing of this position only, we are going to take one by one case. So the first case is the first case, when the line of action of the tangential brake force Ft, tangential force Ft passes through the fulcrum O of the lever. So whenever it is passing through the fulcrum of the lever, so this is the fulcrum and the tangential force is acting along the fulcrum of the lever. Sometimes the fulcrum would be downward direction or upward direction. So that is not a matter. But in this case, we are considering that the force, the frictional force and the fulcrum passing through the fulcrum axis. The frictional force is passing through the fulcrum axis. That is what here. So no, and the brake wheels rotating in the clockwise direction. So we know that we are taking in the previous minute also, last minute also, we taken that the rotating wheel in the clockwise direction, but we were not discuss about whether the tangential force is passing through the fulcrum or not. Right now we are discussing about when tangential force is passing through that fulcrum. Then the equilibrium and taking movements about the fulcrum we have. So as I told that forces are vertical forces and horizontal forces. First we'll consider that vertical forces. So I can say that some of the vertical forces are zero. Some of the vertical forces are zero. So this is the vertical force rx into x, rn into x, resolving of bottomward direction, is equal vertical forces. So this also you can take P into L, P into L minus, when taking that downward forces plus upward forces minus Rn into X. So once P into L, P into L is equal to Rn into X. So that is what this meaning of this. Rn into X is equal to P into L. Right, resolving force, I mean that summation of vertical forces are zero, I'm considering. So by taking of that moment of O, moment about O, right? So this is also you can take moment about O, moment about fulcrum is equal to zero. Summation of forces or moment about O is equal to zero. So like that, when you're taking that total Rn is equal to what? P into L by X after taking of this. So we know that braking torque mu into Rn into small r radius. So what is the Rn? Rn is equal P into L, P into L by X. So the total formula would be derived like this: mu into P into L into radius by X. So this is the formula for braking torque. This is the formula for braking torque when the wheel is rotating, when the wheel is rotating in the clockwise direction. When the wheel is rotating in the clockwise direction. Please note that. So this is a one kind of formula. The formula is helpful to us while solving of the problems. So everyone has to remember this formula and this statement also, clockwise direction, and make sure that this is the statement or case when the frictional torque is passing along the axis of the fulcrum. Next, come to that anti-clockwise direction. So this is the formula, one formula, anti-clockwise direction. So when it is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction, how the formula would be, that also we'll see. Right, now come to that case 2. So here case 2, the case 2 is dealing about the case 2 taking us through the anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise, rotate in the clockwise, rotate in the anti-clockwise, right? So this is the formula. The formula is like this, braking torque. Same principle we are taking here. So whatever we taken that previously, that also we take the same principle to derive of this. But here somewhat different here, somewhat different. So the difference also you can see it. Previously the frictional force is passing through the fulcrum of this. So there was a fulcrum here. Tangential force was passing through this fulcrum. Now the fulcrum is with some distance from this tangential force, with some distance. That means that upward direction, upward at a distance, at a distance. So even the wheel is rotating in the clockwise direction, the wheel is taking in the anti-clockwise direction, right? Anti-clockwise direction and the clockwise direction, both is there, but the little difference is providing a fulcrum here. Providing a fulcrum at a distance. Tangential force is taking at a distance. So you can take this. So in the case 1, you can observe this case 1, the fulcrum is passing over here. Fulcrum is passing through the axis. Tangential force is passing through the fulcrum axis. Tangential force is passing through the fulcrum axis. But it is a clockwise direction, it is an anti-clockwise direction. So it is a first statement or first case. Second case would be this. ఇలా ఉంది. ఇలా ఉన్నప్పుడు కూడా సేమ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ అంతా ఓకే. బట్ ఏంటంటే డిస్టెన్స్ అనేది మారుతుంది. సో దానికోసం వచ్చేసి టీబీ బ్రేకింగ్ టార్క్ ఫార్ములా ఇది జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. సో వన్ మోర్ కండిషన్ కూడా ఇది జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద వాట్ this formula is for one case and this formula is for another case. Below fulcrum, this is a below fulcrum, you can see that. So the line of action of ft passes below the fulcrum, the line of action of passes above the fulcrum, above the frictional torque. The fulcrum is the line of action of fulcrum is above the frictional torque, the line of action of fulcrum is like this. So these two formulas are there. This is the one formula, plus here and minus here. That is the only difference here when the case 2 is taken. Then coming into that third case, this is the third case. The third case also like this only. Third case. So third case, what happened? It is a reducing of these brakes. So you can see here the statement is also mentioned. When the line of action of tangential braking force passes through the distance A above the fulcrum, distance A above the fulcrum, and the brake wheel rotates in the clockwise. Brake wheel rotates in the clockwise. So this is the one case, right? Above the fulcrum, and rotating in the clockwise direction, rotating in the clockwise direction. So for that, this is the formula. And for the for this statement, this is the formula. This is the formula, right? These two formulas you have to remember. So total how many formulas? 2, 2, 2. Total 6 formulas are there. 6 formulas you have to remember for case 1, case 2, case 3, right? So I'm running out of time. So I'll take you next class problems regarding this. Next class I'll take you that problems regarding this. So I hope you have understand. So total three cases we have here. How these three cases are helpful to us finding out the braking torque. So next class will continue further steps, and we'll solve the some of the problems also. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you.